The stars stretched across the void like a sea of sparkling ice. Among them, a sleek human spaceship glided silently, cutting through the darkness with precision. Inside, Captain Ryland sat at the command chair, eyes calm and steady as he watched the instruments flicker. His crew moved with practiced efficiency, but there was tension in the air. They were approaching the throne world of the alien queen, a ruler known across galaxies for her cunning mind and her monstrous pet, Kragor, the unkillable beast. The ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Mara, broke the silence. "Captain, sensors are showing massive energy readings from the planet below. This is unlike any world we've scanned before. The throne city, it's enormous, and there's movement near the central tower. Hundreds of sentient life forms heavily armed." Ryland nodded without taking his eyes off the view screen. "I know, that's why we proceed with caution. But remember, Mara, we are here to observe first, negotiate second. No one makes the first mistake," Mara frowned. "Caution, sir, is fine. But we've heard the stories. Kragor isn't just a creature. They say it has never been defeated. Not once. The Queen uses it to end anyone who opposes her." Ryland's jaw tightened slightly, but he did not speak. His calmness was a shield. His crew noticed it, and it gave them a strange kind of hope. He had faced impossible situations before, and somehow, he had always found a way. The ship descended into the planet's thick atmosphere, clouds of green and purple swirling beneath them. Below, the throne city rose like a living cathedral. Towers of black stone spiraled into the sky, shimmering with alien energy. Great bridges connected massive spires, and at the center, the Queen's palace glowed with a strange golden light. As the human ship hovered over the landing platform, massive doors opened silently. The Queen herself appeared at the balcony, tall and regal, her skin shimmering in a color that shifted between silver and violet. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the ship with curiosity and judgment. "Captain Ryland," she said, her voice deep and melodic, echoing across the platform. "You have arrived. Few humans dare to come here, fewer still without fear. Tell me, why are you here?" Ryland stood straight and steady. "We come as observers. We do not seek conflict. We only wish to understand your world and your people." The Queen's lips curved in a faint smile, though her eyes remained cold. Bold words. Yet bold words mean little without proof. "My Kragor." She lifted her hand and the ground trembled. From the shadows of the palace, a massive creature emerged. Its scales were black as obsidian, muscles rippling under thick armor-like skin. Horns curved from its head, eyes glowed like molten fire, and its roar shook the landing platform. The crew staggered backward. Even seasoned soldiers could feel the raw power radiating from the beast. It had been said Kragor was unkillable, that no weapon in any galaxy could pierce its defenses. Ryland's eyes never wavered. He observed the creature with calm attention, noting its stance, the slight twitch of its tail, the rhythm of its breathing. He saw something others didn't. A creature of instinct, yes, but not mindless. It reacted to authority and patterns. He would test that, carefully. "Sit," he said softly, almost under his breath. Mara froze. "Captain, what did you—" Before she could finish, the impossible happened. Kragor halted mid-step, its massive head tilted slightly as though trying to understand the human voice. Slowly, the beast lowered its front legs to the ground. Then its hind legs followed. Its massive tail thumped once against the stone platform, and it settled completely, obeying a single simple command. The landing platform was silent. The Queen's eyes widened and her court gasped. A human, small, fragile by comparison, had commanded the unkillable Kragor to obey. The Queen's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Impossible. It listens."
"To you?"
Ryland kept his gaze steady, his voice calm. "It is not impossible. It understands authority, and it knows respect. I did not threaten it. I did not demand it. I asked it." The Queen studied him, her sharp mind racing. No human had ever shown this level of composure in her presence. No human had ever dared face Kragor and remain untouched by fear. Her advisors whispered among themselves, astonished and uneasy. One of the alien nobles, tall and angular, muttered, "This is unprecedented. The human speaks with the confidence of one who commands not with weapons but with presence." The Queen's lips pressed into a thin line. "You are not like other humans. And yet, I am curious. Your kind arrives in my domain, and you show no fear of my beast." Tell me, Captain, why does your species not tremble before power like mine? Ryland's eyes met hers. We understand danger. We respect it. But we do not bow to it without reason. Strength is not everything. Wisdom, patience, and understanding are equally important. That is how we survive. The Queen tilted her head, intrigued. Few beings had spoken so boldly and wisely in her presence. She realized this human was different. Not just brave, but clever, calm, and self-possessed. Cragor stirred but remained seated, eyes locked on Rylan. The bond was silent yet unmistakable. The beast recognized his calm authority. The Queen finally spoke again, her voice quieter, almost thoughtful. Perhaps I underestimated your kind. You have tamed what no one else could. That is, remarkable. Rylan nodded slightly, still standing tall. I do not seek to tame what belongs to you. I only ask it to understand me. A murmur passed through the court. The human had not humiliated the Queen. He had not overpowered her beast with force. He had simply earned respect through calmness and intelligence. The lesson was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. The Queen's advisors whispered among themselves, some worried, others impressed. The court was alive with tension. Alliances and loyalties could shift with the actions of one single human. Rylan understood the subtle danger in the room, yet he remained composed. Finally, the Queen raised a hand. You may remain for now, Captain Rylan, but know this, Cragor is not a pet. It is my weapon. And should you betray my trust, there will be consequences unlike any your kind has ever faced. Rylan inclined his head respectfully. Understood. We come only to observe, to learn, and to respect. No harm will come unless forced upon us. The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then, without another word, she motioned for Cragor to stand. The beast rose, massive and powerful, yet Rylan's presence did not falter. He had earned in a single moment something no alien had expected, a human who could stand unshaken before the unkillable. As the human crew prepared to disembark onto the alien world, Rylan's mind was already working. This was only the beginning. The Queen was curious, the court was tense, and Cragor was no longer merely a weapon. Somewhere deep inside, Rylan knew that patience, understanding, and quiet confidence would become their greatest tools. And as the massive doors of the palace opened, he stepped forward, ready to face whatever trials awaited. The stars outside seemed distant now, as if the human had entered a world entirely his own challenge. And yet, for the first time, the alien throne world was curious, not about its queen, but about the human who could command the unkillable with a single word. The massive doors of the palace closed silently behind Captain Rylan and his crew. The alien court watched with wide eyes as humans entered their world without fear. Even Cragor, the so-called unkillable beast, moved beside the Queen with a strange calm. The court was tense, every whisper carrying uncertainty. No human had ever stood so close to the creature and lived. Rylan walked carefully, observing everything. The palace was a marvel of alien architecture, towering spires of shimmering crystal connected by bridges that glowed with energy. Walls were lined with alien symbols pulsating with a faint light. Every detail seemed designed to overwhelm visitors, but Rylan remained composed. He had faced worse in distant star systems, and he knew how to stay calm under pressure. The Queen led them to a wide, open courtyard. Cragor trailed behind her, muscles rippling, eyes glinting with intelligence. The court gathered, forming a circle around the space. The air was thick with anticipation. Everyone knew something extraordinary was about to happen. The Queen raised her hand. Captain Rylan, you have shown remarkable composure, but a true test is necessary. Cragor is not merely a creature, it is the ultimate judge of strength and command. If you cannot maintain control, it will destroy anything in its path. Rylan met her gaze evenly. I understand. I do not seek to control it through fear. I only wish to guide it with respect. The Queen's lips curved in a slight, almost amused smile. Very well. Let us see if your words are more than empty courage. At her command, Cragor moved to the center of the courtyard. It loomed over Rylan, its claws digging into the stone floor. Its massive tail lashed back and forth, and steam rose from its nostrils. Its eyes glowed like molten metal. Even the Queen's court held its breath. Attack, the Queen commanded. Test the human. Cragor lunged forward faster than anyone expected. The ground shook under its weight and the crowd gasped. Rylan did not flinch. He stepped forward, his posture calm and deliberate. His voice cut through the tension. Sit. The word was soft yet filled with authority. For a moment time seemed to slow. Cragor's massive body halted mid-lunge, its eyes focused on Rylan, studying him. The crowd gasped again. The beast lowered its body, its claws scratching the courtyard stones, and then it sank fully to the ground, obedient. A murmur ran through the court. Aliens. The throne world buzzed with whispers after the humans' display in the courtyard. Word spread quickly across the palace. Captain Rylan, a human, had commanded Cragor, the unkillable beast, to obey. The alien nobles argued among themselves. Some called it a trick. Others feared it was a sign that humans were more dangerous than they appeared. But one truth was clear. The queen had seen something she had never seen before, calm authority that outshined fear. Inside the palace, the queen sat upon her high throne, her silver-violet skin shimmering in the dim light. Cragor lay beside her, massive and silent, yet its eyes followed Rylan wherever he moved. The creature did not growl or roar. Instead, it rested like a loyal guardian. This unsettled many of the nobles more than if it had attacked. Rylan stood in the center of the chamber with his crew behind him. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes were sharp, studying every detail of the queen's court. He noticed the nobles whispering, the advisors' nervous glances, and even the way Cragor's tail twitched at the faintest sound. The queen leaned forward, her voice smooth but edged with curiosity. "You confuse me, human. Many warriors have tried to bend Cragor to their will. They fought, they threatened, they screamed. All failed. And yet you—" She tilted her head slightly. "You speak one word and it obeys." "How?" Rylan answered calmly. "Because I don't see it as a weapon. I see it as a living being. Respect given is respect earned. Even the fiercest creature knows this truth." A murmur ran through the chamber. One noble scoffed. "Respect? Nonsense. Power rules. The queen commands because she is strongest. Nothing else matters." Rylan turned his gaze to the noble, his voice steady. "Then why does Cragor obey me and not you?" The noble's face tightened and silence filled the chamber. The queen's lips curved into a faint smile, though her eyes remained thoughtful. "Bold words, human," she said. "But boldness alone does not keep one alive in this court." She gestured to her advisors. "What do you say of this?" An elder advisor, his features long and sharp, stepped forward. "Majesty, this is dangerous. The human has shown influence over your beast. If left unchecked, he could sway the court or worse, challenge your authority." Another advisor, younger and more eager, disagreed. "No, Majesty. This is an opportunity. If a human can calm Cragor, perhaps they can be useful allies. Their ways are strange but effective. We should study them, not fear them." The queen listened without expression, but her mind was working quickly. Rylan had done more in one day than countless warriors had done in centuries. He had shown that humans could not be ignored. She turned her gaze back to him. "Tell me, Captain, do all humans share this presence, or are you unique among your kind?" Rylan shook his head slightly. "I am not unique. Many humans understand this truth. We are not the strongest in the galaxy, nor the fastest, nor the most advanced. But we adapt, we learn. We find strength in ways others overlook." The queen's eyes narrowed. "Adaptation. That is a dangerous gift." Before Rylan could respond, a sudden shout echoed through the chamber. One of the nobles stepped forward, his eyes blazing with anger. "Majesty, this is unacceptable. A human dares to speak as though he is equal. Cragor's obedience was a trick, nothing more. Let me prove it." The noble snapped his fingers, and two alien guards stepped forward, their weapons glowing. They aimed directly at Rylan. The queen did not stop them. She wanted to see what would happen. The crew tensed, but Rylan raised a hand to calm them. He stood still, his face calm. His eyes flicked once to Cragor, who was now rising slowly, sensing threat. The beast's low growl rumbled through the chamber. "Sit," Rylan commanded softly. Not looking at the guards but at Cragor, the unkillable beast obeyed instantly, lowering its massive frame back to the ground. The growl faded, but its eyes glowed with silent warning at the guards. The court gasped. The queen leaned back in her throne, her expression unreadable. The noble who had called the challenge stepped back, fear flashing across his face. Rylan spoke quietly, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Strength without wisdom destroys itself. Cragor knows this. Perhaps your people should too." The queen's advisors exchanged uneasy looks. Some were clearly impressed. Others were worried. And the queen herself, she was amused but also intrigued. "Captain Rylan," she said at last, "you have turned my court into a storm of whispers. Some fear you, some admire you, and I—" She paused, her eyes shining like cold fire. "I am not sure yet what I feel. But one thing is clear. You have earned a place here, at least for now." Rylan inclined his head slightly. "We did not come to disrupt, only to understand. If my presence causes whispers, then let them whisper. In time, the truth will become clear." The queen's lips curved faintly, almost into a smile. "You speak with confidence, human. That is rare here, perhaps too rare." She stood, her tall figure commanding the chamber. "Very well. You will remain. But know this, you are not yet trusted. Respect must be earned, not demanded. Show me more of what your species can do, and perhaps we shall see if humans are as dangerous or as useful as I begin to suspect." Rylan bowed slightly. "Respect is earned on both sides, Majesty." Her eyes narrowed at his words, but she did not punish him. Instead, she waved her hand, dismissing the court. The nobles filed out, their whispers filling the chamber once again. Some glanced nervously at Rylan, others at Cragor, who still lay obediently on the ground. When the chamber was nearly empty, the queen leaned closer to her advisors. "Watch him. Watch his crew. Learn all you can. The humans are not what they seem." Rylan, though dismissed, had heard enough. He knew the queen's mind was turning. She was cautious but also curious, and curiosity, he thought, was the first step toward change. As he and his crew walked back through the palace corridors, Mara finally spoke. "Captain, you realize what just happened?" "You made them question everything." Even the queen herself looked uncertain. Rylan nodded. "That was not my goal. But sometimes showing calm strength is louder than any weapon. The galaxy will never respect humans if we act like everyone else. We must show them something different." "And if they see us as a threat?" Mara asked quietly. Rylan's voice was steady. "Then we show them we are a threat worth respecting, not fearing." Behind them in the chamber, Cragor stirred but did not follow. Its eyes lingered on Rylan's retreating figure. A silent bond had been made, one that even the queen did not fully understand yet. The throne world had seen something new. A human had earned respect not by force but by calm authority, and that respect once planted would only grow. The great hall of the alien palace was silent. The alien queen sat upon her throne, her golden eyes sharp, her fingers curling around the armrests as if holding back her rage. Before her stood the human, James, his expression calm, his voice steady, and beside him rested the towering monster that the aliens once called unkillable. The beast's massive form loomed like a mountain of muscle and bone, armored in thick plates of dark hide. Its glowing eyes no longer burned with fury, but softened, almost curious, whenever it looked at James. The sight unsettled the queen's guards, who clutched their weapons tighter. "Impossible," the queen whispered, though her voice carried across the chamber. "My creation obeys no one but me." James folded his arms. "Maybe it never wanted to obey you." The queen's crown tilted as her head lowered slightly. She studied the beast, then the human. For the first time in centuries, doubt touched her face. Whispers rose among the council of alien nobles seated along the hall's edge. Some demanded that the queen destroy both man and monster. Others murmured that perhaps the human had some strange power. Fear and wonder mixed in the air like storm clouds. The queen stood, her long robe trailing behind her as she descended the throne steps. "You will explain, human. How did you bend my beast to your will?" James glanced at the creature beside him. "I didn't bend it. I just talked to it. Treated it like a living being instead of a weapon." The queen narrowed her eyes. "You lie. That thing was born to kill. It has no heart, no mind to reason with." At that the beast stirred. Its claws scraped the marble floor as it lowered its head near James almost protectively. The action spoke louder than words. The nobles gasped. James patted the creature's armored hide. "Seems to me it has a mind. And it made a choice." The queen's voice grew colder. "A choice? No, it cannot choose. I created it to serve me alone." "Then maybe you never really knew it," James replied softly. The words cut deep. For centuries the queen believed her beast was her ultimate weapon, her answer to rebellion, her proof of dominance. Yet here it stood, calm and quiet, obeying a fragile human with no weapons in hand. The queen lifted her hand, summoning her guards. If it no longer listens to me, then it is worthless. Kill them both. The nobles gasped again. Dozens of armored warriors stepped forward, blades and spears ready. The beast growled, its deep rumble shaking the pillars of the hall. But James raised a hand. "Sit," he commanded. The monster obeyed instantly, lowering its massive body until it crouched beside him, its glowing eyes fixed on the advancing guards waiting. James stepped forward alone. "You don't need to fight us. There's been enough blood." The guards hesitated, caught between fear of the queen and fear of the beast. None dared strike first. The queen's fury erupted. "Cowards! Strike him down!" But before her order could be carried out, the beast rose again with a thunderous roar. Its tail slammed the floor. The alien sky stretched wide, dark with storm clouds that glowed faintly from the lightning above. James walked steadily through the palace courtyard, the giant beast at his side. Soldiers lined the walls, but none moved to stop them. Their eyes were wide with fear and something else. Respect. The unkillable monster that had once been the queen's terror now walked calmly beside a single human. Every soldier who saw it began to wonder, if a man could command what even their queen could not, what else might he be capable of? James felt their stares. He kept walking, his hand resting lightly against the beast's thick hide. "We're not done," he whispered. The beast gave a low rumble in response. Inside the palace, the alien queen watched their departure through tall windows of black crystal. Her golden eyes burned, though her face remained calm. She sat still upon her throne. Her advisors gathered nervously at her side. "Majesty," one whispered. "The nobles speak already. They say the human has broken your hold. Some even call him a sign of change." Another added, "If the beast stands with him, then your armies will falter. None will face it willingly." The queen silenced them with a raised hand. "Do not mistake silence for surrender. I have ruled longer than their grandfathers have lived. One human will not undo me." She rose, her robe sweeping across the floor. Her voice carried power as she declared, "If they whisper about him, let them. I will remind the galaxy why they fear me." That night, as the alien city beneath the palace lights began to dim, James rested in a quiet chamber granted to him after the audience. The beast lay curled outside, its armored body too large to fit inside any room. Its glowing eyes watched the horizon, never closing. James sat by the window, deep in thought. He had seen the queen's face before they left. She would not stop. She was planning something. He spoke softly, knowing the beast could hear him even through the walls. "We'll need allies. It can't be just us." The beast gave a low hum, like thunder rolling far away. James leaned back. But will they follow us? Or will they stay afraid? By morning, he had his answer. When James stepped outside, he found a small crowd waiting beyond the courtyard gates. They were not soldiers, but common folk. Traders, workers, even children hiding behind their parents. Their faces carried both fear and hope. One of them, a young alien woman with silver skin, stepped forward. Her voice trembled. "Is it true? Did the beast choose you?" James glanced at the towering creature. It lowered its head slightly beside him, calm and obedient. James nodded. "It chose not to fight." "It chose peace," the woman gasped. Murmurs spread through the crowd. For years they had lived under the shadow of the beast, told it was unstoppable, untamable. Now it stood gentle, almost protective, beside someone who was supposed to be weak compared to them. An old alien in the crowd raised his voice. "If even the beast can choose, then so can we." The words lit a spark. Hope began to spread. Far above the city, the queen stood upon her balcony, watching the crowd grow around James. Her teeth clenched behind her lips. She saw the danger, not of the human strength, but of his influence. "Hope," she muttered, "the most dangerous weapon of all." She turned to her generals. "Prepare the arena. If the people crave a spectacle, I shall give them one. We will see how loyal this beast truly is when tested." The generals bowed, though unease flickered in their eyes. Later that day, James was summoned again to the palace. He felt the trap but had no choice. If he refused, the queen would crush those who had begun to gather around him. The beast followed at his side as they entered a vast arena carved into the heart of the city. Tens of thousands filled the seats, their voices rising like thunder. At the center stood the queen, radiant in her armor, her golden eyes gleaming. "Human," she announced, her voice echoing through the arena. You claim the beast has chosen you. You claim it seeks peace. Then let us test that claim. Gates opened on the far side. From the shadows emerged not one, but 3 other monsters, creations the queen had hidden away. They were smaller than the beast, but faster, armed with blades of bone and spines of fire. The crowd roared. The queen spread her arms. Let us see if your bond can withstand true challenge. James felt the beast tense beside him. Its massive body shifted, claws digging into the dirt floor. The smaller monsters howled, circling like wolves. James placed a steady hand on the beast's hide. Easy, don't strike first. The beast rumbled, its chest glowing faintly with power. The smaller creatures lunged. The beast blocked the first with its armored shoulder, swatted another aside with its tail. The third tried to leap at James, but the beast caught it midair, slamming it to the ground. The crowd gasped. James stood firm, shouting loud enough for all to hear. No killing! The beast hesitated, its claws inches from tearing into its opponent. Slowly, it released the creature, tossing it aside instead of finishing it. The smaller monsters scrambled back, growling, but none dared attack again. The arena fell silent. Thousands of eyes watched as the so-called unkillable beast turned from violence when commanded by a human. The queen's smile faltered. She had expected blood, chaos, proof that the beast was still nothing more than a weapon. Instead, the human had shown control greater than her own. James raised his voice again. You see? It doesn't want destruction. It doesn't want war. You've all been lied to. It was never unkillable. It was misunderstood. The crowd erupted in shouts, not of fear, but of hope. For the first time in generations, they saw a path beyond fear. The queen's hands trembled at her side. She could feel her power slipping. Rage boiled within her, but she forced her voice to remain cold. This changes nothing, she declared, though even she heard the weakness in her words. The human is a trickster. The beast will betray him, as it betrayed me. Yet even as she spoke, the beast lowered its head beside James in front of thousands of witnesses. The crowd roared again, this time for the man and his companion. James stood tall, his heart pounding. He knew the queen would strike back harder than ever, but now he also knew he was not alone. That night, as fires of rebellion began to spark quietly across the city, the queen sat in her private chamber. Her golden eyes stared into the dark. If hope is their weapon, she whispered, then I will make them fear again. I will break the human and I will shatter the beast. Her plan was only beginning. The city burned with whispers instead of fire. Hope moved like a secret wind through every street. Families spoke of the human who had faced the queen without fear. Soldiers told each other of the beast that refused to kill unless the man commanded. For the first time in centuries, the queen's power trembled, but the alien queen was not done. In her hidden chamber lit by strange crystals, she stood before a device that pulsed with dark energy. It was older than her throne, older than her empire. She had kept it as her final weapon. Her voice was a whisper to herself. If the beast betrayed me once, then I will forge chains that no will can break. Her scientist bowed before her, nervous. Majesty, the device can bind the mind of any living creature. But it is unstable. If used on the beast, silence, the queen commanded. I will not lose to hope. I will drown it in fear. James sensed the change before it came. He stood on a balcony overlooking the alien city. The beast lay beside him, resting but alert, glowing eyes scanning the horizon. The people had begun to gather openly now. They wanted to hear him speak, to see the beast that had chosen peace. Yet James's heart was heavy. She won't let this stand, he murmured. She's planning something worse. The beast rumbled low, uneasy. Then the air itself shook. A pulse of dark light spread across the city like a wave. People cried out, clutching their heads. The beast roared in pain, staggering to its feet. Its glowing eyes flickered wildly. James grabbed its hide. Stay with me! But the beast thrashed, claws tearing through stone, its roar echoing like thunder. The queen's device was working, forcing chains around its mind. From the highest tower of the palace, the queen's voice rang out, magnified for all to hear. Behold, the beast was never his. It was mine from the beginning. And now it returns to me. The people gasped as the beast rose higher, its eyes blazing red, its body trembling with rage. James stood firm. Dust swirled around him as the monster roared above. He shouted against the storm. Fight it. You're more than her weapon. The beast shook violently, torn between two masters. Its claws slammed the ground, creating cracks in the city streets. Buildings trembled. People fled in panic. The queen's laughter echoed across the city. See how hope burns away? See how your savior fails? There is no choice but fear. James clenched his fists. His voice cut through the chaos. No, you can choose. You already did once. Choose again. Choose now. For a moment, silence fell inside the storm. The beast froze, its massive body shaking. Its red eyes flickered between rage and calm. One step forward crushed the street. Another step turned it toward James. The queen pushed harder, her power straining. Obey me, she screamed. James raised his voice not with anger but with trust. Sit, the command echoed like a bell. The crowd held its breath. The beast shuddered. Its glowing red eyes flickered, then softened back to their calm light. With a ground-shaking crash, it lowered itself onto its haunches before James. The chains of the queen's device cracked, then shattered like glass. The people erupted in cheers. The queen's face twisted in fury. No, this cannot be! She hurled her crown to the floor and some